The Dipset legacy has always been built on loyalty, swagger, and larger-than-life personalities, but when family and relationships mix with fame, drama is never far behind. Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin have spent years building a love story that fans have followed through reality TV headlines and countless ups and downs. But just when things seemed to be steady, an old friend turned foe stepped into the picture. Cam's single quotes Ron. Known for his unfiltered mouth and ability to stir the pot, Cameron has allegedly spilled secrets about Chrissy that sent shockwaves through both the streets and the Love and Hip Hop fan base. The details were raw, messy, and personal for Jim to brush off. For years, whispers about tension between Cam and Chrissy floated around, but no one expected him to go this far. To pull back the curtain on private matters that were never meant to be aired in public. The fallout was instant. Fans are divided, alliances are shifting, and Jim Jones himself is said to be on edge, unable to take the constant pressure of his past. His partner and his brotherhood colliding in such a dramatic way. Social media is ablaze with speculation. What exactly did Cameron reveal? Why now? And will Jim and Chrissy's relationship survive another round of public humiliation? Tonight, we dive into Cameron's explosive claims, Chrissy's alleged secrets, and why Jim Jones is reaching his breaking point in a family saga that refuses to die down. When Cameron talks, the culture listens. For decades, the Harlem rapper has been known not just for his hits, but for his sharp tongue and his refusal to bite it. Whether it was beef with rivals, shade thrown at old friends, or cryptic comments that sent fans scrambling to decode them, Cam has always known how to stir up a storm. But this time, his words hit closer to home than anyone expected. The Dipset Brotherhood Cameron. Jim Jones, Joel Santana, and Freaky Zeke was once untouchable. They were trendsetters, cultural icons, the very definition of New York swagger. But behind the scenes, cracks in the foundation had been showing for years. Tension between Jim and Cam had been whispered about in barbershops and on blogs, with some pointing to business disagreements and others hinting at personal drama. And at the center of those whispers, Chrissy Lampkin, Jim Jones' longtime partner. 4 years. Chrissy has been the woman by Jim's side, loyal, fiery, and unafraid to speak her mind. Fans saw their love play out on Love and Hip Hop, from romantic proposals to explosive arguments. But Chrissy's strong personality also meant she clashed with people around Jim, and Cameron was no exception. Rumors of their tension had circulated for years, but nothing ever truly boiled over until now. During a recent conversation, Cameron allegedly let loose. He didn't just throw shade at Jim. He went for Chrissy, spilling secrets that were never meant for the public. The details were messy, shocking, and deeply personal. According to insiders, Cam hinted at stories from Chrissy's past, connections that raised eyebrows, and moments Jim had always tried to keep out of the spotlight. Whether the claims were true or exaggerated didn't matter once Cam spoke them into existence. The internet ran wild, the streets lit up with speculation. Was Cam telling the truth? Or was this just another shot fired in a long-standing feud with Jim? Fans dug up old interviews, piecing together moments when Cam and Chrissy's tension had shown on camera. They pointed to old clips of Cam cracking jokes that seemed to be thinly veiled shots, and Chrissy rolling her eyes whenever his name came up. Too many. This wasn't just random shade, this was years of quiet tension finally exploding. Jim Jones, caught in the middle, was furious. For a man who has always been protective of Chrissy, hearing his longtime friend air out personal business was like a knife in the back. Sources close to Jim revealed that he felt betrayed, humiliated, and pushed to his breaking point. "He can take shots at me all day," one insider quoted Jim as saying. "But when you bring Chrissy into it, that's crossing the line." Blogs wasted no time amplifying the drama. Headlines screamed about Cameron exposing Chrissy and Dipset brothers at war again. YouTube channels dissected every word Cam had said, while Instagram pages reposted the juiciest quotes with captions like, "This is wild," and "Jim ain't gonna like this." Fans flooded comment sections, half of them demanding to know more and the other half warning Cam that he had gone too far. Chrissy, for her part, was reportedly livid. Known for her fiery temper, she felt disrespected and humiliated by Cam's words. She wasn't just angry at him, she was angry at the fact that Jim's silence made it look like the couple was taking hits without firing back. "We've dealt with rumors for years," she allegedly told a friend, "but this is different. This is family." The scandal created ripple effects in the industry. Old Dipset affiliates were suddenly being asked to pick sides, with some quietly supporting Jim and others suggesting Cam was just being Camblund, unfiltered, and unapologetic. What was once a private rift had now turned into a full-blown public war. And fans couldn't look away. For Jim, the timing couldn't have been worse. Between music, business ventures, and maintaining his relationship, the last thing he needed was his past being dragged into the spotlight by someone he once called a brother. But as much as he wanted to ignore it, the noise grew louder every day. Every time Cam spoke, every time a blog reposted his words, Jim felt the pressure mounting. By the end of the week, one thing was clear: the secrets Cam had spilled weren't just gossip, they were a weapon, and they had cut Jim and Chrissy deep. The Dipset legacy, once built on loyalty, was now cracking under the weight of betrayal. And for Jim, the breaking point was closer than ever. The moment Cameron's words hit the blogs, Jim and Chrissy's world turned upside down. What had once been private whispers between friends was now public property, dissected on social media like it was the latest reality TV cliffhanger. But this wasn't television. It was Jim's real life, Chrissy's reputation, and the Dipset brotherhood, all hanging by a thread. Chrissy's reaction was immediate. Those close to her said she was furious beyond belief, pacing the house, slamming doors, demanding answers. "Why is he talking about me? Why now?" she shouted, according to one insider. Chrissy had spent years dealing with the shade, the side eyes, and the endless speculation about her relationship with Jim. But hearing Cam air out alleged secrets for the world to hear, that was the ultimate disrespect. To her, Cam wasn't just attacking her character, he was trying to humiliate her in front of millions. Jim, meanwhile, was caught in a storm of emotions. On one hand, he wanted to protect Chrissy, to defend her publicly and shut down the rumors. On the other hand, he couldn't believe that his brother, his day one, his Dipset partner, would drag his fiancée into the mud like this. "Friends?" said Jim, walked around like a man with a weight on his chest, repeating the same words over and over. "I can't take this no more." The streets picked sides almost instantly. Old Dipset fans were divided. Some believed Cam was just being messy, stirring up drama for laughs, while others thought there was truth in his words. Memes flew across Instagram and Twitter with captions like, "Cam knows too much," and "Jim better check this fast." Every old video clip of Cam and Chrissy exchanging shade resurfaced, fueling the fire even more. Chrissy decided to speak for herself. In a fiery Instagram live, she didn't mention Cam by name, but her words were sharp enough that everyone knew who she was talking about. "I'm tired of people thinking they can play with my name. I've been solid, I've been loyal, and I'm not about to let anybody try to rewrite my story." Fans flooded the comments with support, but others questioned why she sounded defensive, only making the scandal more complicated. Cam, never one to back down, responded with more shade. On his own platform, he doubled down, insisting he wasn't lying and that he had every right to speak his truth. "Don't get mad at me for saying what's real," he said. "If the truth hurts, that's not my problem." The statement only widened the gap between him and Jim, turning what might have been settled privately into a very public feud. Jim couldn't stay silent forever. Days after Cam's latest remarks, he finally posted a cryptic message of his own. I love my family, I love my woman, and I ain't here for the games. Loyalty means everything. The post racked up thousands of likes within minutes, with fans praising him for standing by Chrissy. But some wondered if he was being too passive, too careful, when what Chrissy needed was a stronger, louder defense. Behind the scenes, the tension between Jim and Chrissy was reaching dangerous levels. Insiders revealed that Chrissy was pressuring Jim to cut ties with Cam completely, insisting that no man who disrespected their relationship should ever be welcomed back into their circle. But Jim, torn between loyalty to his partner and the history he shared with Cam, struggled to make the call. "We built this together," Jim reportedly said about Dipset, but he crossed the line. The industry buzzed with the drama. Rappers, bloggers, and even reality stars began weighing in, some siding with Jim and Chrissy, others shaking their heads and saying Cam was just keeping it 100. Podcasts debated whether Cam was telling the truth or just trying to stay relevant. YouTube channels broke down every word he said, frame by frame, like it was evidence in a trial. And through it all, Chrissy's frustration only grew. She wasn't just upset with Cam, she was upset with Jim, too. His hesitation felt like weakness, like he wasn't willing to stand up for her the way she had always stood up for him. Their arguments grew louder, their silences colder, and the relationship that had survived so much now looked more fragile than ever. By now, the scandal had taken on a life of its own. It wasn't just about what Cam said, it was about trust, loyalty, and the cracks in the Dipset brotherhood that had been hidden for years. Jim couldn't take it anymore. Chrissy was demanding action, and Cam was enjoying the chaos he had unleashed. The world waited for the next move, knowing that whatever happened next wouldn't just affect Jim and Chrissy's relationship, would redefine the Dipset legacy forever. The tension that had been brewing for weeks finally reached its boiling point. What started as a few cryptic comments from Kamran had exploded into a full-blown war of words. A war that left Jim Jones torn between his loyalty to Chrissy and his long history with Cam. And for the fans, 'twas the showdown they had been, waiting for the moment when private grudges became public fireworks. Jim Jones had had enough. According to insiders, he picked up the phone and confronted Cam directly. The conversation, described as heated and emotional, was far from a reunion between old friends. "Why are you bringing her into this?" Jim allegedly demanded. "You can say what you want about me, but you don't disrespect my family." Cam, never one to back down, fired right back. "If you can't handle the truth, that's on you," he reportedly said. "Don't tell me what I can and can't talk about." The call ended without resolution, and it didn't take long for the feud to spill back onto social media. Jim posted a passionate message about standing by the woman he loved, writing, "A real man protects his queen. I don't care about clout or old beefs. Loyalty is forever." The post instantly went viral, with fans praising him for finally defending Chrissy publicly. Chrissy herself reposted it with a simple caption, "That's all I needed to hear." But Cam wasn't finished. He clapped back with another post, reminding the world of his role in building Dipset and his history with Jim. "Don't forget who put you on," he said. "Don't rewrite history just because your woman got you in your feelings." The jab was brutal, and it hit Jim where it hurt his pride, his legacy, and his sense of brotherhood. The internet couldn't get enough. Fans flooded Twitter with debates arguing over who was right and who was wrong. Some said Cam was out of line for dragging Chrissy into the feud. Others argued Jim was letting his relationship cloud his judgment, putting Chrissy before the bond he once had with his brothers. In Dipset, memes, reaction videos, and endless think pieces turned the scandal into one of the biggest stories in hip-hop culture. Meanwhile, the fallout inside Jim and Chrissy's home was just as intense. Sources revealed that Chrissy finally felt vindicated after Jim defended her, but she still carried the sting of Cam's words. "It's not just about what he said, it's about how many people believed it," she told a friend. That's the kind of damage you can't undo. Jim, exhausted from the constant pressure, confessed to those close to him that he didn't know if he could ever repair his friendship with Cam. The drama spilled into business. 2 Dipset reunions that had been rumored for months were suddenly in jeopardy, with promoters nervous about the growing rift. Fans who once begged for a full Dipset tour now wondered if the crew would ever even be in the same room again. The legacy they had built together was overshadowed by messy personal drama, and some feared it would never recover. Then came the ultimate face-off. At a public event in New York, both Jim and Cam happened to show up, and the tension in the room was palpable. Cameras caught them exchanging words, nothing too clear, but enough for fans to sense the hostility. Chrissy stood close by Jim's side, her expression icy as Cam laughed and brushed off the confrontation. The video went viral within minutes, fueling even more speculation that the feud had reached a point of no return. For Cam, the scandal was entertainment, a way to remind the world of his presence and keep his name buzzing. For Jim, it was personal, a wound to his pride, his relationship, and his family. And for Chrissy, it was a reminder that in the world of fame, your past will always find its way back into the spotlight. No matter how much you try to move forward, by the time the dust began to settle, one fact was undeniable: nothing would ever be the same. The brotherhood of Dipset was fractured. Jim and Chrissy's love had been tested like never before. And Cameron's words had left scars that wouldn't easily heal. In the end, Jim stood by Chrissy, refusing to let the noise tear them apart, but the cost was high. His friendship with Cam was broken, his pride wounded, and his patience worn thin. For the fans, it was the perfect storm of hip-hop drama: loyalty, betrayal, love, and brotherhood, all colliding in a scandal that would be remembered for years to come. And for Jim Jones, it finally reached the point he'd been warning about all along. He couldn't take it anymore. The Dipset saga has always been legendary, but this scandal pushed it into uncharted territory. What started as brotherhood between Cameron and Jim Jones turned into a battlefield of betrayal, shade, and spilled secrets. Chrissy, caught in the crossfire, became the lightning rod for a feud that reminded everyone that fame and loyalty don't always mix. Cam's decision to speak on Chrissy shook the foundation of his bond with Jim. The secrets, true or exaggerated, were enough to ignite years of hidden tension and force Jim to choose between his partner and his brotherhood. In the end, Jim made it clear: his loyalty is with Chrissy, even if it costs him one of the most iconic friendships in hip-hop history. But now, the conversation shifts to you. Do you think Cameron went too far by dragging Chrissy into the feud? Was Jim right to cut ties to protect his relationship? Or did he let love cloud his judgment? And what does this mean for the Dipset legacy? Can it ever recover from wounds this deep? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's talk about it. Because when it comes to drama like this, every fan has an opinion. And don't forget, you want to stay locked in on every twist, every clapback, and every shocking revelation in hip-hop culture. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and share this video with your crew. Trust me, the next chapter in this saga is closer than you think.